Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's section of reads. This should be on YouTube channel James13 Wicca. I just want to make sure that's where you're seeing it. If you're not, I'm on YouTube, James13 Wicca. I'm going to put the decks and dice and stuff like that below. If you want a personal reading in person, I am in Herkimer, New York, or close to it, I should say, doing personal readings in Herkimer, New York. There's a store called Renewed and Rescued if you want to check it out. The hours they're open or the hours I can do that, just shoot me an email and I'll let you know if there's time available. Also, if you want a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. With all that said, let's go ahead and get into your reading. Hello, Cancer. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Cancer? Why is this a good thing? That's weird. Because it's time to heal. Good. This is going to be one of those readings. It's either happening or it's not. Things are getting closer, but I feel like even though we're getting really close, we're dealing with some sadness. We're dealing with some sadness. So I want to kind of like understand what's going on here a little better. Whatever the situation is, you've known for a while where it was going. You've known for a while where it was going. So there was a rough moment coming up, and you saw that coming. I feel like you've already done the work with acceptance. It literally says acceptance here. And the reason you did that was because it was best for everybody, you included. It's kind of like one of those things where, excuse me, when you know the job is going to end, you see it coming, or, you're coming to the end of your schooling, or for whatever reason, you're like, somebody's going to move away, things are going to change. Maybe you have to move or something like that, and you're like, for whatever reason, you're like, I know we have to move for whatever reason, and you actively chose to accept it. It's not like you went, I'll go, but I'm going to do it kicking and screaming. It wasn't like that. It was kind of like, all right, this is going to happen. I'm going to accept it so that I can make it the best I can. So it was a very empowering moment. Very empowering. And it's kind of like, it's coming together, but it's kind of bittersweet. I feel like I'm trying to hold it together as best I can. Which is this, the 7 of Swords? I think the angels are swords. I'm pretty confident they're swords. I'm not... The 7 of Swords is kind of like overting or not dealing with something sometimes, but I feel like this is for the best. This isn't like, people see this sometimes as a negative card. In other decks, it's the Thief card. It's not a bad thing, though. It's kind of like, if I can't do good here, if I can't make this better, there's no reason to go into it. There's no reason to start. If I can't have a positive effect here, there's no point to it, so I stay away from it. And I partially feel like that's a good decision, but I also feel like there might be a little guilt that trails behind with it. I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think you're making a really good decision if this is hitting. I think you made a really good decision. But typically with water signs, their heart is into it, and they're like, well, I'm not looking to leave somebody high and dry. But at the same time, if I can't make a positive effect here, there's no reason for me to do that. So you're probably staying out of something and wondering if that's the right choice. I'm getting it's a really good choice. You're doing what's best for you. And again, if you can't make a positive move on it, might as well leave it to whatever. It's like, especially if it's one of those situations where you could get involved, but you're going to get the backlash that you don't need. So like if you can't have a positive effect, and plus if you got involved, there would negativity be coming at you. Why do that to yourself? It makes complete sense to stay out of it, at least for now. But there's changes coming in very quickly. I don't feel like the situation you stepped out and you're just done washing your hands of it. I feel like what's going on is like when the appropriate time comes around and I can have a positive effect, okay, I'll step forward. I'll do what I need to do. And I feel like that time is coming forward. It seems like it's kind of springing forward, just boom, it's coming in. I don't see that really shocking you. I feel like that might be kind of like par for the course with this situation. Kind of like, yeah, that's what happens. So when it just kind of shows up, or here it is at your door, you're like, yeah, well, once in a while, that's just how it works. So I feel like I don't waste my energy being upset about it, because I'm like, this is just how it works. I feel like you immediately are kind of like, all right, it's time for me to do stuff. I can make something here. I can have a positive effect, but at the same time, there is some, I want to use the word treachery. I want to use treachery and I want to use some deceit, but you probably see right through it. There is some treachery and deceit, but I also get like you also know how to work through that. I don't think this is, again, this isn't going to be like, oh, that's new. No, that's not new. And I feel like, you know when like a little kid lies to you, like, who ate the cookies, and they got all the crumbs on their mouth, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't even know we had cookies. And you're like, okay. All right, child. This is kind of one of those moments where, yeah, I know what you did, and you're going to tell me you didn't, but you are the evidence. Like, it's right there. They are the evidence, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, yeah, we're still playing these games. I don't like that, but I do get a chance to move forward and do what I need to do. I do get to add in this situation in a positive way, so I do feel good about that. I don't know that you're going to go all that far with it at this point. I feel like I'm doing what I can, but I feel like I have respectful boundaries, and I'm just careful how much I lend a hand. I feel like I'm just kind of like, you know, when you're kind of like, you know, I got other things going on, and you're like, I'm not going to really redo my schedule too much. I'm not going to move things around too much because I don't think this is a good idea. I will work them in a little bit, but I'm not going to readjust my life for it. So I'll make room for them where I need to, but not going to go crazy here. I feel like that's what I'm doing, because I feel like that's for the best, because the way this energy goes, it's kind of like, I'll help you. I'm just not going to reconstruct my life over it. And I feel like if this is hitting, that's kind of the better way to go with this, because there's a lot of communication happening here, but then these two cards together, there's a lot of communication with what they want to do, but not enough to back it up. So it's kind of like, I'm going to see if I can make this really simple. Say there's five appliances in the kitchen, but they only have enough strength for one, maybe two of those appliances. But they're planning like they're going to use all 5 appliances all day long and get all this stuff in. But they have energy for 1 or 2 appliances. Does that make sense? It's like they have all these big plans, but they have enough to get some of it going, to do some of it, but not to do all of it. I would say 20-30% if you're lucky. You know, it's kind of like if I equate it to money, I don't know if that makes it better. They're going to make $100. Today they're going to make $100. They're going to make like $20, maybe 30 if they're lucky. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense with this. They're just not going to have, they have a lot of plans, a lot they want to do, great ideas, but they don't have enough to back the whole thing to make it work out. It's kind of like wanting to build a house and not having enough funding to make it happen. And they might have all these ideas on how they're going to make that happen. I'm going to work 3 jobs, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it's kind of like, they don't have enough energy. Like, you know, sleep is required. Getting back and forth between jobs is required. Like, you know what I mean? There's not that much time in the day that they might think. I feel like they're also going to try to, they're going to get, it's defiant, it's resistance. They're going to try to prove that they can. I'm getting they're going to try to prove that they can do it. I would just leave them to it. I would just leave them to it. Let them prove what they can. Just realize it's not probably going to work. They might get it to work maybe 2 weeks tops, but there's probably going to be fallout for that. So I don't know. They're going to try to demand, and I can do it. I know I can do it. well, like everybody else on this planet, we're human. I mean, they can try, but I don't know. I'm not trying to poo-poo anything. You're going to be fine. You got the protected card. You're protected. Protect what you need to in this situation, because I'm getting like somebody's doing more than they think, or thinks they have a capability that it's just beyond them. I got one more example. This is like somebody that wants to become a major singer, and they have some ability, but I feel like it's like some people, you know, they can sing. I know that, I hope this doesn't sound rude. They can sing, but it's kind of like, it's nice, but it's not like you're not falling all over yourself about it. I hope that doesn't sound rude, but you know, some people sing and it's nice, but it's like, okay, I can take it or leave it. You know what I mean? I don't know why we're going that way. There's something I'm trying to prove there. So, because I feel like they're saying just protect what you need to protect, make decisions accordingly. They're going to try. If they make it, great. I mean, this is a general reading. If they make whatever they make, if it does happen, great. But I'm getting, if this reading is hitting, odds are not in their favor. And if you plan forward as if it's not really going to make it, but you're trying to just protect what you need to protect, even if they do succeed, it's not going to cause any harm, is what I'm also getting. You don't have to abandon this situation. You don't have to retreat again. I'm getting, just be careful. Move forward carefully, because I feel like this is a way I can move forward. If I'm careful and slow and protected how I move forward, I can be a part of this, but I got to be careful not to get too deep into it. Like, move forward in a way that makes sense, but not too deep. I don't want to be overly ambitious. I don't want to be, I know this is going to sound rude, but I don't want to be overly supportive. Does that not sound rude? I don't know how that sounds. I want to be fairly supportive, but not overly supportive. It's kind of like, you know, maybe this is somebody who has a hard time managing their home life. And maybe it's whatever, and you're like, maybe once, twice a week tops, maybe you're like, I'll come over and like we can, or you can have dinner at my house. I'll have you over for dinner so you don't have to worry about dinner that night. Once, maybe twice a week at the most. But like, don't get into it where I'll just cook dinner every night. I'll just do it every night for you. I'll just make it so you can do this every night. I feel like that's not a good idea. Once, maybe twice a week. So like, does that make sense? Like, you could do the whole week if you wanted to, but I don't feel like that's a good idea for you or them. Once, maybe twice a week, and maybe once a week every week, but maybe twice a week once in a while, for example. That would keep it so your sanity level stays intact and they are still working on what they need to do, and then whatever this is. Because whatever it is, I know they're going to try, but take it with a grain of salt. It's a general read. I just feel like they're very like, I'm going to make this work, and it's just not catching. Whatever the situation is, you want to connect to it, is what I'm getting. It's going through its evolution. By being partially connected but not too deep in it, like I've been explaining, I feel like the bond between you and whoever this is, or whatever this is, it could be a job, whatever it is, the bond between you and whatever you're dealing with has a lot of healing coming in with the Seven of Swords. Nope, that is the Four of Swords. We already had the Seven before somewhere, didn't we? Yeah, the Seven's down here. You got a lot of healing coming in here with the Four of Swords, but then this one coming in, that's your card. That's the Chariot card, actually. The Seven of Major Arcana, that's the Chariot card. It looks different in this deck, but I'm getting things will start moving forward. It'll open up a new pathway. You'll have a stronger bond here. And I feel like later on down the road, you're being listened to more intensely, more like people are focusing, or whatever you're dealing with, if this is a specific person or a job, I feel like they're taking your input a lot more to heart, and I feel like they're acting on your input a lot more than they are currently. But I feel like it's developing where I'm just enough involved to say I'm there, but not so involved that it's draining my energy down. And it does seem to kind of reinforce that in a positive way, to where things can grow and start going where you want them to go. I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect. I don't think you'd believe me if I did. Good for you. But improvement, notable improvement. Like, for me, improvement would be like, you know, instead of running at 60%, you're running at 75, 80%. You know, it's like if it, you know, or whatever, you know what I mean? Improvement, notable improvement. anything else with that? All right, I'm gonna shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.